This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Bristol Flyers Podcast, powered by WebGains. I am Joel Osborne. He is Sam Hardy. Over there is producer Dan, and this is episode number 60, Sam.
They said we wouldn't get there, Joel. They said we wouldn't make it, but here we are, episode 60, loving life, ready to go. How are you feeling about it, Jolie?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you? I mean, 60 hours of podcast listening, that is crazy.
60 hours of joy, I should say,
That's
Joel.
right, yeah. Well, if you haven't had a chance, go listen back on the old podcast feed. You've got 60 hours of Sam and I to listen to over the episodes. But can you believe it, Sam? An incredible game over Newcastle Eagles on Friday night.
I tell you what, I knew we were going to come out firing, but we lay the smack down, especially in that fourth quarter, Joel. I was so excited.
Incredible fourth quarter. Producer Dan, did you watch the fourth quarter on Friday night?
I've seen the best bits of the fourth quarter. And yeah, I mean, they smashed it again.
It's what you call Flyers basketball, and you have to do this with your hand when you say it. Because it was incredible defense, it was physical basketball, it was offensive rebounding, and it was an incredible run, and we ended up winning by double figures very comfortably indeed after tying the game. It was tied with like 9 minutes to go.
I do love the highlights. They do a great job of it, but I also think there's something special about the ebb and flow, the like ups and downs. Like even though we did really well in the fourth, there's still moments that are a bit like, So Dan, I like that you watched the highlights, but please go back and watch that fourth quarter in whole or else.
I will.
It was incredible. We'll be chatting about the Newcastle game in more detail later on in the podcast. But, Sam, today is a very big day in the Bristol Sports HQ. And do you want to know why?
I do want to know why, Joel.
Well, tonight is the Bristol Sport Christmas Party.
What?
It's the Bristol Sport Christmas Party, the biggest day in the Bristol Sport calendar. So we're recording this episode on a Wednesday. It's probably going to drop on a Thursday because straight after this, we're heading over to have a nice slap-up three-course meal with a black tie event down in the city centre. And also, I think it's good for us to get this out before we, have a few fresh waters, because you don't want to do a Sam in Poland again. Do you know what I mean?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Absolutely no idea, Joel. Why do you keep talking about it?
Well, we'll refrain from talking about Poland from here on out for the rest of the podcast. I can't promise that, unfortunately. But before we introduce this guest, Sam, I also wanted to talk through our Christmas plans because the big day is right around the corner.
It certainly is. We're basically 12 days away from the big day, Joel. Are you excited for it?
Yeah, I'm excited. Christmas shopping, not so excited for. I haven't started yet, but nothing like leaving it to the last minute. That's how we do.
We've bought for everyone, except I haven't bought anything for Helen yet, and I don't really know what to do.
Only the biggest gift of them all.
I know. A bit nervous about that. Well, she actually listened to this as well, so I shouldn't have said that. So
maybe you can get her something Eric Lockett related.
Yeah,
she loves Eric Lockett.
That's actually a good shout.
Signed photograph or something. It'd be amazing. So next week will be our Christmas special, but you're going away, aren't you, Sam, next week?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do next week is we are planning on doing a little bit of a wrap-up of the year. Is that right, Jolie?
That's right. So producer Dan and I will be here in the studio. We'll be looking back on all the best Bristol Flyers podcast moments of the year, you and I together. Might crack out some fresh waters, Dan. What do you think?
I'm up for that. It's been a great year as well. Should be a good episode.
It has been a fantastic year. So we're going to go from January all the way through to December, picking out the best moments, the funniest moments, the most insightful moments, and that should be a great podcast. And then the week after that, the week between Christmas and New Year, the podcast is going to take a break because we are going to be Christmas singing it up.
Yeah.
Annual leave, Sam.
Are you taking time off, Joel?
Well, we've got a game between Christmas and New Year, so maybe not fully time off, but I will try and take some time off, yes.
That's our Leicester game. I think that's our last British Basketball League game of the year, is that right? And then we head into the trophy.
That's right. Trophy starts in January, so the league takes a complete stop. We have group games through January. We've got Leicester, Newcastle, London, and Manchester.
So the easiest group we've got, yeah?
It's a bit of a group of death, but the way we're playing, I fancy our chances of advancing right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I know that some of the other teams are strengthening. Leicester have just strengthened. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on in the pod.
So we will indeed.
Let's not worry too much about that now. But I'm not worried, Joel. It's weird, though, because we're going to play Leicester twice in a row. We're playing them on the 28th away and then again in the trophy on the 6th away, which is fine. It's just a bit weird, isn't it?
Don't get me started on the scheduling, Sam. We've spoken about it time and time again on the podcast. Quick reminder before we introduce the guest, if you are enjoying the podcast, please recommend it to a friend. Like, comment and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are a podcast listener, please give us a rating and a review. It really helps us move up the rankings and into your podcast algorithm. Right, without further ado, it's time for us to introduce this week's guest. And we are very pleased to be joined by one of our own. It's none other than Bristol's finest, Corey Samuels in the house. Corey, how's it going?
It's going great.
I feel like there's a round of applause there. Yeah, there we go.
Do you know
What's
what?
up with the soundboard?
Yeah, I was trying to
waiting
find
for
the
it.
right song, and the only sound I was about to click on was the Homer Simpson.
Yoink!
It's time for British basketball beat.
Oh,
It's not time for that.
Sam's gone nuts with the soundboard.
Yes.
But yoink! We got Corey Samuels in the house. Corey, how's it going?
Other than the cold I'm recovering from, it's all good. I can't complain.
You've had the old Christmas fever, have you?
Of
Don't be
course.
passing that on to me, Corey. I cannot be dealing with illness this Christmas.
You'll be alright. I'm past the incubation period. I think you'll be just fine.
I think it's been going around, isn't it, this year? I've had a really bad cold start December as well. Christmas fever. Everyone has it, don't they?
Yeah, it's so annoying because it's right in that time. Everyone's ready to have a really lovely break, and then you just end up lying in bed for a few. Were you in bed for a few days, or were you right?
No, I was in bed for a morning. I think I had a practice off and then joined back in the afternoon.
Yeah. You've got to have the
That's
flu
normal.
game as well, you know what I mean? That's how you get
Yeah,
over the cold.
exactly.
Have the big MJ flu game.
Do you also? Is it right that you sweat out a cold? Is that what you do, or is that wrong? I can't
I
remember
don't
the
know.
rules.
Some people, I heard mixed opinions, but just play through it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Corey, before we get into our meat and bones of the interview, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, what's that?
At the start of the show. Now, during our Poland episode a couple of weeks ago, we heard Pasquale Landolfi's impression of me for the very first time.
Oh yeah.
Now, I hear it's not just him that does an impression of me, because apparently you do a good impression of me too.
I mean, I've worked on it back in the day. I put it to rest for a while now, but I got a little left in me.
Well, is it time to maybe bring it back out while we're here on a podcast and give your best Joel Osborne impression straight into camera one? Maybe
don't
say
know.
something like, you're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast powered by WebGains. How about that? Straight to camera one, Corey, go on.
Camera one.
Yeah, go on.
Bristol fans, you are listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast powered by WebGames.
I mean,
That's
it's...
my best. That's my best I can do right now.
I think Pasquale's is a bit better.
Yeah, he's a bit better.
Cheer that.
I'll give it to him.
What do you think of that, producer Dan?
It's not bad. I mean, you got your little plug of promotion in there for WebGames as well, didn't lifting up the bottle.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. WebGains will absolutely love you, Corey.
Yeah, I love that.
Corey, thanks for spending time with us on the podcast. We appreciate it as always. I know you guys have like a really, really busy schedule. It's been a busy schedule all season long this year
Yeah.
with the extra games, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Every time, like if I look at the BBL schedule, I'm like, all right, we got like only one game that week. We got a bit of time, a bit of rest. I have a weekend off. Next thing you know, we got an ENBL game on the Tuesday. So it's still like packed, even busier than normal. But it's cool though.
Yeah.
More games are better.
Now, I noticed you just said the 3 letters on the podcast. Now, Sam and I aren't allowed to say the 3 letters. You can say them because
Okay,
the
bet.
rules don't apply to guests, apart from Joe Edwards on the podcast a few weeks ago.
Of course.
But we have a rule where we can't say the B, the B,
yeah.
and the L, but you can get away with it. I think I had a question from someone last week saying, why didn't... who did we have on the podcast last week? Why didn't our guest last week do a forfeit for saying the B, and the L?
It was on last week.
I don't even know, mate. It's all a blur to me this season. Who was on last week, Dan?
who did we have last
Oh,
week?
this is bad.
This is really
so
bad.
bad.
CJ Jackson. No, it was
So
CJ
CJ,
Jackson.
yeah.
It was CJ Jackson. He said the B, and the L, and then he didn't have to do a forfeit, obviously, because it doesn't apply to our guests.
That's fine. He's new to it as well, so I don't have an issue with that. But you, Corey, if you do it from now on, we're going to make you...
No, we're not going to put that rule in. That you can say as much as you want, but obviously, we're not supposed to be saying it on the podcast.
Thanks for reminding me, Joel, because, I don't want to do any more of those forfeits.
I haven't used a bucket in a while, to be fair.
We've been pretty good. Do you know what? It didn't take long, and we're kind of now. I don't even like saying it outside of the podcast either. I normally say the league.
I'm the
or say-
same.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same. But Corey, at the time of recording right now, we are officially halfway through the British Basketball League season. We are 10-9 in the league. It's had its highs and it's had its lows so far. What have you kind of made of it as a whole so far this season?
I think it's good to be at this point and look back because I remember we had like a rough start to the year. And I kind of reserve judgment. Everyone always asks, what do you think of the team? What do you think of this and that? I'm like, well, we haven't had enough time to see what we're really about. And I think that's what October was for us. And we saw like how good like us as a team can be when we're really playing as a unit, which is great. It's frustrating that we had that little 5-game slide. Like it's crazy to think that it took us 5 games to get right. But, you know, I got confidence that we can... well, we've already started turning it around, so yeah, I'm pretty like optimistic about the second half.
It was really weird. The October we had 5 or was it 6 games we won?
It was 7. It was 7 in all competitions, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
but
a 6-game win streak in the league and 7 in all comps.
But we also that was weird though because we played the 6 and we won, but we lost the ENBL game.
That's
and
right.
And then in November we lost all the British Basketball League games, but we won the Poland game, didn't we?
That's
And the other one.
Yeah. So it was like a 7-game win streak, then a 5-game losing streak. I don't think I've seen a season where it's like you go on that run and then you go on like a losing run like that as well. It's quite obviously that I feel like the injuries and the change in personnel in the squad has maybe had something to do with that. It's tough, isn't it, when you have like 2 of your leading scorers that you're playing really well, you're flying, and suddenly they get injured. You have to bring new guys in. I can imagine that can be tough as you guys to sort of adjust your style of play to the injuries and the new players coming in.
Yeah, everyone kind of has to, because you kind of get set in certain roles. So when 2 like major pieces are taken out the equation and then you put in new pieces, you kind of have to readjust and just like see how exactly you're going to fit together again.
Yeah.
Like responsibilities like shift a little bit in different directions. But yeah, like clearly we figured it out. So
yeah. And in terms of off the court as well, like you bunch of different personalities on the team, and you guys all seem to be really gelling so early. It's very similar to last season in that you had a lot of personalities, and they all just seem to get on the same page so early. Like within a month, you guys are all on the same page, and you're all like getting on really well.
Yeah, I guess because we spend so much time together. Like, it's like I see these guys more than my parents, and I live at home with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So much traveling, like you got a lot of time to talk and just like get to know each other. So it just accelerates that process, which is a good thing, really.
I suppose obviously we have loads of away games normally, but having the extra ENBL games, it means your away trips can be like up to 3 days long. So you're getting those time to really get to know the guys you're staying with, right?
Yeah, literally. Like there's not really many stones left unturned when you're on like a coach for 6 hours or something, or you got a flight, you're staying over in hotels, and you know what I mean? It's just cool. You just get to know guys, so yeah.
Yeah. What's the mood been like in practice right now? Because, of course, right now we are on that 3-game win streak in all competitions, and it all kind of started really with that play at the end of the Sheffield game, that Trajan Jacob dunk, and since then, the guys have been flying.
Yeah, we've just been on a high, really. Like, obviously, we're not foolish, like, we haven't like won any championship or anything, but everyone's just positive. And I think the good thing about our mentality now is that we're in that good, like positive mindset, but we're still like locked in practices. We're still focused and like getting better each day. Just like no pressure and just free. So yeah, it's smooth.
And of course for you as well, personally, you're part of the very first Bristol Flyers team to be playing European basketball. From where the club's gone, and obviously you've been there since for however long, through the junior program, and then you went away and came back, and now playing in the British Basketball League, seeing where it's going. I mean, what's it been like for you being part of? How much does that mean to you being part of that first ever Flyers team to play in Europe?
I think it's pretty big. Like Coach mentioned it in the very first game in Bulgaria. Like just the journey of the club from before I got here when we was in like D3 or whatever, and when I was watching in D1 to like get to the BBL and then the British Basketball League.
Yeah, very well done.
And then Europe is a crazy story. It's something that Netflix might want to think about picking up one day.
I know, right? I think if I said
cool.
to you right now, like in 3 years' time, the Flyers will be playing. Like if I said to you 3 years ago, if in 3 years' time the Flyers will be playing European basketball at SGS Wise campus, you'd probably think I'm crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. Even like in my first year when Josh Rogers was here, and we were just talking about like the new arena and like talks of Europe. And we was like, I don't know when it's actually going to happen. It's going to take ages. But then before you know it, like we're flying around winning games and that. So, it's good.
Partly because 3 years ago as well, Joel, we were sat all indoors during COVID. So
yeah, true. Exactly. We were doing this. We were starting at the podcast 3 years ago during COVID.
That's
pandemic,
weird, Joel.
Just talking to Coach K and Nick Burns via Zoom. and now look where we are.
Ah.
Speaking of Europe, right now at the time of recording, the Flyers, they are 3-1 in the ENBL this season, and next week it's a big trip to Estonia. Looking forward to that one.
I am in a way, but my dad asked me the same question, and for me, it's like obviously on court. Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a really good opportunity to just like stay dominant in the league and just like really show people like who Bristol Flyers are like overseas, which is great.
Yeah.
And off the court, you know, like you look forward to like going to these different destinations. But I've been to Estonia. That'll make 5 times going to Estonia. And I'm not gonna lie.
I was going to say, because you've probably been there as a junior, right? Playing junior basketball.
Yeah, so it's like there's only so much Estonia one guy can take.
Apparently, it's going to be really snowy, I heard, because it's like winter. It's like Christmas, so it could be really. Have you ever been there when it's snowing?
Nah, I haven't. So hopefully that changes up the scenery.
That could be something new for you.
I'm not sure how if Estonians are going to feel about that, Corey. 5 times you're like, there's only so much Estonia one person can
I
have.
love Estonia. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, we'll see.
Do you know much about the culture in Estonia or things to do while you're out there in Tartu?
Yeah, in fact, well, I don't know about Tartu, but I know in the capital, which I can't remember the name, there's like this castle that we used to go to like a couple times and look at a little history of Estonia and stuff. So yeah.
So I once met a band from Estonia. I was at this place in Norway for 3 days, and they were there as well. And they came runners up in the tournament or competition to be the band that plays at Eurovision.
Oh, really?
So they didn't ever get there, but they were second place in the Estonian competition.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's weird. But
I love Eurovision.
so good, isn't it?
But obviously, as this is the last podcast before our trip to Estonia, producer Dan has been working some magic with our guide to Tartu, haven't you, Dan?
I have indeed, and it's great to hear that Corey's already had enough of Estonia. Because what we've prepared is a little video telling you all about Tartu with a very special guest.
Yeah, so every time, Corey, we have a trip to, every time we face a European team, producer Dan over there for the podcast puts together a fantastic package educating fans on everything you can do whilst you're out there, or everything you need to know about the opponents. And we've put one together for Tartu Ulikool. Dan, how much did you enjoy putting this one together?
I did. Yeah, I did. My package is fantastic. It's a really nice piece all about Tartu. So, yeah, enjoy.
We love your package too, Dan. So
you.
without further ado, Sam's got it over there on the soundboard. Corey, take a listen, because this is everything you need to know about Tuesday night's opponents, Tartu Ulikool.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and throughout SGS-wise, not a player was shooting. Wait, where are those guys? Well, they're travelling abroad, and now we are too. So let's find out more about opponents Tartu. Thanks, Santa. I'll take it from here. We're in Estonia this week for Game 5 of the ENBL in their second largest city of Tartu. It's also next year's European Capital of Culture, so come on then, Tartu. Let's see what makes you so cultured. Well, plenty of museums for one. They can choose from the Tartu Toy Museum, the Science Centre, and Typer, which looks like somewhere you can make your own paper. Other cultural delights include the Sports Museum and this delightful statue called the Kissing Students. It's called that because these are students and they're kissing. Now, this is more like it. This is the gunpowder cellar of Tartu. Built in 1768, this was exactly what the name suggests, but these days it's a place to sink a few pre-match freshwaters and marvel at the ceiling. Officially the highest ceiling in a pub, recognised by the Guinness World Records at 11 metres tall, which is around 5 Brad Greens. On to game day then, and Tartu are serious winners. 26-time Estonian League champions, 17-time Estonian Cup winners, and Baltic League champions 2010. No easy task for us tonight, but it's time to lace up the... Do you know what, Santa? Why don't you round things off from here?
Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God!
Santa here? I know him.
As Coach K smiled and with a swoosh of his clipboard, his team were ready to play basketball abroad. Now Leslie, now Corey, now CJ and Brad, on Tejon, on Trajan, on Tevin and Raf. Buckle up, Flyers fans, because it's time for game night. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good flight.
What do you reckon of that, Corey?
It's good, isn't
That
it?
is great. You can tell a lot of work went into that. That is great.
You and also, like, you don't get to see the video because we can't really do that in the studio, but it would have been on the screen just then, but it's so good. You have to see the video
yeah, I'm
version
definitely
as well.
going to go back and watch the video.
Yeah, we always put out a little exclusive peek on the podcast, run it on the broadcast, which will be next Tuesday night on Flyers TV, and then we'll put it on socials as well, so it'll be on Twitter. you can go check it out.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch another ENBL game. I love being there, and I love the home ones, but and I loved going to Poland. Joel, stop mentioning it. But also the ones at home, it's just so fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
It's quite nice because they're normally around 5 p.m, so you get a little bit of your evening afterwards as well, Joel.
Yeah, I think the tip-off for Tuesday night, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, is around 5 or 6 p.m. because of the time difference, right?
Yep. Tip-off here in the UK will be 5 p.m. for Tartu.
Yeah, so our coverage will start at 4:30 p.m. on Flyers TV. So you get home from work, you pop on the YouTube, and you can watch Flyers straight away and be done nice and early, ready for an early night's sleep.
And please do not do what I did when the Bulgaria game was first on. I knew that we were doing something here in studio, but I completely forgot. And I went on the ENBL's YouTube, started watching it, and their build-up is nothing on what you do, Joel.
Oh, they do no commentary.
Well, they do exactly. So there's no commentary. So I was just sat there having it on for 10, 15 minutes. Like, what is going on? When's it going to start? Obviously, the Flyers one has it. So please watch it on Flyers TV, not the ENBL YouTube, and enjoy Joel. And is it who you doing with Tilly as well?
Tilly, and that's gonna, or maybe a special guest. I keep teasing a special guest. We never have any, so there might be a special guest, but I don't know. Maybe Santa Claus.
Maybe.
So it's great you got Santa Claus involved for that video as well, by the way, Dan.
Yeah, I put in a word, and thankfully spared a couple of minutes to talk about Tartu. So thanks, Father Christmas.
How much did he cost for that cameo?
Nothing. He just made sure that I was on his good list, and that was all. That was it, really. So.
Yeah. Shout out to Santa Claus for being involved in the video. You can also catch Santa Claus down at the Bristol Sports Store this Christmas. He's making a special appearance.
Wow.
Sam. You know
Is
that?
he?
He is making a special appearance.
What?
Christmas late night shopping this week.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. That's lovely.
All the details over at bristolflyers.co.uk. But Corey, in all seriousness though, we talk about like you're joking around about Tartu, but like for Flyers to be playing in European competition, it just shows the club is the trajectory is going up. Do you know what I mean? And there's not many clubs at the moment you can sort of say that about. It's steadily year on year, the club's growing in the right direction, and you've been a part of that for a very long time. Like, how special is that for you to see the direction the club's going in?
I think it's obviously it's special, and like I've talked on it before, just what it means to me, like from like where I'm coming from. But I think even like on top of that, it's quite like motivating to know that I'm a part of something and that I can like continue to be a part of something that's going somewhere. No one likes to just be stagnant and just, not really developing or improving. So to know that there's even more to like come and just new like levels to reach like as a team, as a club, that's quite like it's exciting for me to think about like how I could be a part in that and what that would look like.
Yeah, you talk about developing and improving. Of course, your minutes have been increased because, obviously the injury problems we've had in the team as well. And you're stepping up on the European stage as well. I mean, you had that massive 3 against Juventus to make it like a tie game, I think it was, from the last sort of minute of the game. How are you finding that adjustment on the court to... Is it much different to the level you see in the British Basketball League? What the main differences you're seeing?
That's a good question. I get that a lot from like different players. I think the BBL is like a lot more athletic. You get bigger guys on most teams, but even that Juventus team, like they had some big bodies like across the board. And I feel like one of the biggest differences is they actually get to the end of their offenses when you play the European teams. Like the ball moves like side to side. It's just action after action. Like you can't switch off on defense. So yeah, I think individuals. There's a bit more individual talent in the British Basketball League, but I think like the team focus is like a bit more advanced in some of these European games. So yeah.
The game that was last week, you're absolutely right. Watching that, their ball movement was unreal.
Was
like,
it?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like they'd get to that point where they'd get to like 20 seconds in the office, like you said, they'd moved you guys around incredibly, shoot at 3, and they got 16%. So they had really bad percentages from the free. But if they were on that week, it would have been a tighter game, wouldn't it? For sure.
Yeah, literally. So like we got our first taste of that in Bulgaria in like the first quarter, and it's like they weren't missing. Like the ball was just flying. I was like, bro, don't let this European thing end up like this. Like, but like obviously we made the adjustments and stuff, and we played to our strengths. But yeah, like I think that was a good wake up call for us. Like what it's gonna be like.
And you mentioned defensive intensity as well. You personally have been known on the team over the last few years. You've got built a rep for being that sort of tenacious on-ball defender. How do you kind of like work on that? Because it's not necessarily like something you can work on as a skill, is it? Like you can't go out and practice your defense. Like, is it a mindset thing, do you think?
I think it's mindset. It's like 90% mindset. And like when you have like Chris Bourne as your coach, like a defensive-minded like player and coach, and like he kind of instilled that in us as juniors, as players, and then kind of grow with it. I think Yeah, I don't know. It's just that thing. Like, it helps to be athletic, obviously. So work on that and cardio and stuff. But it's the mindset. If you really wanna like defend, you can defend. Like, if you really want to.
I don't know if I agree. I've been watching you a lot, Corey. You say 90%, wanting it. I'd say more. It's like 50% chippiness. I see you chatting at those other players, Corey. You've seen it as well, Joel.
100%. Corey. I mean, anyone who listens to our podcast from last year, Corey, knows that he likes to talk sweet nothings into defenders' ears while he's guarding them. Is that right?
Well, I don't know about sweet nothing.
And by sweet nothings, I mean ultimate trash.
Corey's like the nicest guy, and then you see him on the court, and he's chatting so much nonsense. I can see it. You know that.
It's funny when people that like know me in a completely different context, they see me playing like, wow, it's like you're a different person. I'm like, well, it's like when you're in the lines, innit, like things change a bit, and it's all part of fun, it's all part of the game. You know what I mean? It's boring if you're just silent the whole time.
Who are you? Who is it? I don't want to talk about the Newcastle game yet because we're going to get into that. But there was a game we had at home where there was someone in particular you were at each other the whole time.
Well, recently,
yeah, in like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, was it
Was it Sheffield?
Was it yeah, their new guy.
Nixon.
Yeah, Nixon.
Prentice Nixon. I did see that.
You and him were at each, and you like there was all sorts going on that game, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a few things going on, and then him and Tevin was getting into it, and obviously, like when you're playing and it's happening right there, you have the decision. It's like, do I let them like handle it, or like do I step and be like, nah? Like you gotta like see what's happening in the moment and that.
Yeah.
But
I imagine the trash talk very slowly came to an abrupt halt in that fourth quarter after that Trajan Jacob dunk and the subsequent 14-0 run to force overtime.
Well, yeah, we were still having a good time. And do you know what's funny? Like early on in the game, it was like the third or the fourth. Like they hit a free.
Yeah.
Like you can just see times where guys are just having fun on their team. Like they're celebrating before the ball goes, stuff like that. Like nothing like unsportsmanlike, but I'm like, even as a competitor, you just don't like it. And I'm like, nah. So then when the tides change, like, yeah, now we're having fun. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that must have been a really good feeling after that game.
Yeah,
I
man.
love some. It was a few weeks back when T-John still wasn't injured. There was that time he was getting chippy with someone and he hit that 3, and there's that picture of him with his his hand like that in his face.
Against
You know
Caledonia, and it was who's the guard, the point guard for them?
Dubose?
Ian DeBose, and he literally was talking to DeBose all game, T-John Lucas, and there was like back and forth. I think they hit a 3, and then we got an inbounds quickly, and then Trajan Jacob hit a 3, and then T-John Lucas walks from the halfway line to pick up DeBose like from the free throw line extended, like this, like 3 points in his hand.
T-John had hit it. It was T-John that hit the 3.
No, it was someone else. It was 100% someone else, and then he made the assist for that. And then he put the 3 points up in his face.
Like that.
It was good. One thing I wanted to cover real quickly. Obviously, the British Basketball League as a whole, you would have noticed the league has a rebrand this year. They've upscaled in staff massively. What differences have you noticed between maybe this season and last season, or the direction it's going in? Because the obvious one is obviously the upgrade in the broadcast this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it just looks like way more professional and it feels more professional. So, like, when you watch a stream and it's got, like, the studio and stuff, and it's, like, you can see they're making an effort, you know what I mean? Like, especially when Aaron, is it Raiden?
Yep.
Yeah. When he, like, first came in and he had, like, the City Hall thing for, like, players and team and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I tuned in one time, like, second half of my lecture. I was like, let me see what this guy's what's he's really talking about. I was like, all right, it sounds good, innit? But, like to see already, like, the effort that they're putting in, it's good. It's kind of like the Bristol thing, like seeing the direction of the club. It fills you with confidence and you're excited about the future. It's like a similar thing for the league, so it's good for what's going on.
Yeah. Obviously, they've got the American broadcast now, so obviously there's games, like 3 games a week now being broadcast overseas. On top of the Sky deal that's already there as well. If I was to put your finger on maybe one thing that they could improve next going, obviously now the broadcast is improving. It's in a great direction. What else would you want to see the league improved as a matter of priority, do you feel, as a player?
Good question, Joe. I'm glad you asked me that.
Is that a way to give you time to think?
Yeah. Nah, I've had this in my head, actually. And it's not an easy thing. And it's something I even asked Aaron, and he got back to me like over email. But I think kind of looking at ways to create opportunities for British players, because I think if you look at it from like my perspective, like post-Brexit, like the opportunities for me to go overseas, or like people in my position to go overseas, is like way smaller. And then it's really, I think it's good in a way because obviously the levels like being upgraded, like the actual standard of the league, if you ask anyone, it's definitely up. But having like more imports, I think that creates like another challenge for like British players. So I guess it's looking at ways to kind of just make more opportunities for British players or make it more viable to be in the league because we're not like life is bigger than just basketball, so there's other things we have to consider when like deciding like what we do going into the next like season, if that's the right move for us. So yeah, I think that's like a really important one. I'm sure Aaron is working on this in the background and he's gonna spring out some plan in like 3 years, but that would be obviously selfishly like that's applies directly to me, so that's what I'm thinking. But yeah,
let's talk Christmas, Corey, because Christmas is right around the corner. What are your plans this year for the big day?
My plans is actually a bit different to usual because usually like it's like a big gathering of like my family from like around like England. So I got family in London, Leeds, obviously family in Bristol and stuff, and we'll meet up. But it's like people are in their like little pockets and that. My brother just got married, so he's gonna be with his wife's family. So I think Christmas Day is gonna be a bit smaller for us, and then I think we're gonna meet up with some family friends on Boxing Day maybe, which would be nice. It's gonna be different, but it's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What does a typical Christmas day look like in the Samuels
Christmas
household?
Day.
Talk us through what a Christmas day looks like for you.
Christmas Day, church is an hour earlier, so that means I wake up an hour earlier.
Oh man, what time's that?
So service starts at 10 instead of 11.
I mean, that's all right.
That's not early.
Don't feel too sorry for me. But yeah, so yeah, church in the morning is a great way to like celebrate the true meaning of Christmas and just worship and just be around believers. And also like we're just really close to the people that we go to church with, so it's nice to see them on the morning. Come home, finish like making dinner. And actually, I think last year, I started contributing to making dinner, which is good.
Oh yeah, what's your go-to?
I did my specialty, fried prawns, deep fried prawns.
Oh
Okay, very
my
nice.
gosh, that sounds
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was amazing. I've even had recipe requests on my prawns.
Oh really?
Yeah. But
What's the main meat you'd have as a family?
main meat. We have there's 5 different meats that we're normally having it. I know guys are gonna hear this, so get onto me. So, but yeah. So there's always chicken, curry goat. There might be 2 types of chicken. So it might be fried maybe, and then brown stew chicken. Might be oxtail. Usually there's salmon or some kind of fish. Trying to think any other meats. Pigs in blankets, of course.
Oh yeah,
They don't count. That's just a side, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, now we have there's a lot of food. There's roti, there's rice, there's potatoes, there's veg, there's a lot of food in it.
Oh my goodness, that sounds mental.
Yeah, when I was in Italy, I showed them my plate when I flew home for Christmas. It's wow, this is incredible. What on earth is going on here? And it was cool though.
Who's the main chef?
Main chef. There's a lot of chefs in my family, to be honest. I think everyone except for me, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you're digging in now, Corey, with your prawns, all right?
Yeah, that's
your fried
my little
prawns.
contribution.
You
Yeah.
go too. What about Santa Claus? Have you asked Santa Claus for any gifts this year?
I don't even know what I want for Christmas this year. I can't lie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even. When you're a kid, it's I want this, I want that, I want that. But I'm a simple man. I'm content.
Getting old now, mate. That's what that means.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you?
23 going on
that's
24.
not old.
What an old man.
He's not old. Come back to me when you're 32 years old, mate.
When you struggle to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Aches and pains galore. That's
it.
Joel, not me.
Brilliant. Corey, now, one of the big parts of Christmas that everyone loves, and of course we just mentioned it there, is the food. And it's no secret that we love food here on the Bristol Flyers podcast, particularly Schnakks. And Corey, you love Schnakks, don't you?
Of course.
And in particular, you love sweets. Is that right?
That's true.
First of all, tell us what your go-to sweet is, because we want to hear it.
Go-to sweet is got to be pinballs.
The pinballs.
pinballs,
I always see at the end of the bench as well that it's new the last couple of seasons. Is
Yeah.
there's this big box. Have you seen it, Sam? It's a huge box of sweets,
Full
and
of
there's
sweets.
pinballs in it combined with other stuff? Is that your influence, the pinballs?
Do you know what? It might be because in my first year I always had sweets in my little personal box.
Yeah.
But then ever since he introduced the group one, saving my little sweet budget. So
There you go. If you look at the end of the Flyers bench, there's always a massive tub of sweets. It's amazing.
My go-to is still within the same group, but I just love straight up Malwam.
what? Just the stripes?
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, nah, they are good.
They're
good.
classic. But you got to unwrap each one individually, and that can get a bit fiddly.
That's the thing.
Yeah. You just want to pick them up and pop them in your mouth like pinballs.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Now, Corey, you love sweets so much, in fact, that you've actually started your own side hustle in vending machines.
Yeah, that's right.
Elevend.
Elevend.
Tell us more.
Well, before let me get into uniform.
Oh God! He's come on brand and
I
everything.
think it's only right.
He's got the Elevend T-shirt on for the
Yeah.
podcast listener. He's just whipping off his tracksuit jacket now.
Oh, long
go.
sleeve. I wasn't expecting
Oh,
that.
Yeah, man, it's not. I like a long sleeve. You know, Flyers player by day, vending machine business owner by other parts of the day.
Amazing. Tell us all about Elevend, how it started, and what you guys are all about.
Yeah, so I was brainstorming the idea, like literally just as my first season was ended, which is like cool because I remember telling Raf about it, and he was like, "Bro, make sure you do this. I'm about to go overseas for a year and come back. I want to see you do it." I'm like, "Bro, I'm doing it." And then he's come back, and I got something to show him, and he's actually like helping out like where he can and getting involved a bit. But yeah, so what we primarily do is work with startup snack and drink companies and like local brands, and we just want to really get them in prime locations where they can I guess get the most exposure. We've got our socials going, so we're going to be pushing them online and just really just building up a platform for them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, we run the Elevend advert, Sam, every ENBL game during halftime.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you watch the ENBL game on Tuesday against Tartu, you'll be able to see the video that Veronica's kindly put together for Corey. It's a great video, isn't it?
Yeah, nah, she's a real professional. Like I was thinking, wow, how's this gonna look out? But obviously, if Veronica's involved, it's gonna be good. So yeah.
She takes such great snaps as well, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah, she's absolutely.
Is it Instagram, the VO.visuals? Is
That's
it that
that's
one?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's her.
Absolute goat. And Corey, we have an exclusive here on the podcast for Elevend because you are doing a giveaway, aren't you?
That is right. We got a giveaway for this Christmas. Which camera am I looking at? That one?
Camera one over there.
Camera number 1. So in this giveaway, you can win snacks and drinks from around your city, which I don't know which other brands can offer you that for starters. Secondly, we're going to be giving you a never before seen exclusive T-shirt. It's going to be a lot fancier than this one. So that's just another thing to just add into the prize. And then on top of that, 2 tickets to watch the Bristol Flyers. So it's
a perfect gift
Yeah.
for Christmas. It's the perfect Christmas giveaway.
exactly.
Now, to win this whole bundle of Bristol Flyers joy and Elevendi goodness, all you have to do is share this post. We're going to clip this up for social media. So you got to share this post on social media, share it on your story on Instagram, tag a friend in the comments, and follow you guys on Instagram, which is at elevend.sw.
Yeah.
And Corey will pick a winner. When are we going to pick a winner? Have you got a deadline for the competition?
Yeah, the deadline is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So you got till Christmas Eve to share this post on your stories and go win a hamper of Elevend and Flyers goodness.
And it's really cool because off air, he said to us beforehand he's going to give me and Joe a T-shirt as well, which is great. So-
Amazing. Yes, cheers, Corey.
Defo did not say that.
We'll wear them on the Flyers podcast. How about that? So, yeah, of course. We actually also have one of your Elevend machines in the office at
Yeah.
Bristol Sport. Right here, Sam. You're very much well aware of it.
I'm very aware because my bank account hurts because of it, Joe.
It's located right as you walk into the Bristol Sport office. What other locations have you got? Is that you got plenty more locations around Bristol?
So right now we're on 3 locations. So here, obviously, we've got an office called Expeditors in Severn Beach, and then Drive MG in Filton. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to go into these places of work, like mix with different people. I mean, I'm around basketball players all the time, so it's good to mix up. And like, I think the whole networking element is like what we're really trying to tap into, because I think a lot of these businesses, not just the actual brands that we sell, but a lot of businesses have a lot to offer to each other. So bringing those together is something that's like really important to us, and it's cool to be a part of that, and just me being able to interact with these people, like it's sick. So yeah.
One thing we really enjoy and love about having the vending machine there is like Corey and actually Raf sometimes as well, and we really don't get this very often in the office with players, is that they'll go down, they'll do their bits and bobs to make sure it's all sorted, but then Corey will often come up and chat to a lot of the office staff as well, which is it's actually really nice for them because they don't get a lot of interaction with the players, and you're always so friendly to them, so nice to them. We really, honestly, mate, really appreciate that.
Yeah, the vending machine's gone down really well in the Bristol Sport office. In fact, we've got a bit of feedback for you, Corey.
Oh, is it? Here we go.
Got a bit of feedback from a recent experience on your vending machine in the Bristol Sport office. And Sam, I don't know if you can smell that, but it smells like some British basketball beef. Can you smell that? It smells like some British basketball beef. Can you smell that?
It's time for British basketball beef.
Sponsored by Cow and Sow. So, yes, we've got some beef, unfortunately, Corey. We've had a complaint from the Bristol Sport staff in the office, and this one is from our head of marketing at Bristol Sport, Charlie Lincoln, who actually sampled your vending machine this week in the office, but he ran into a little problem. Get up on screen, producer Dan, because his protein bar got stuck in your vending machine, Corey. It was stuck at the bottom.
That's not true.
He fished it out at the end, but it was stuck in there. He bought the protein bar, and it got stuck in the vending machine.
If you just open the drawer and close it again, it falls down.
He had to, apparently, so Charlie told me to feed this back to you, Corey. He took his hand and had to fish it right underneath the vending machine, and then he managed to get it out in the end.
Well, I can assure you, we have our finest technicians on that fault immediately, and I'm very grateful for flagging our one and only ever issue with that machine.
Is there anything you want to say to our head of marketing, Charlie Lincoln, Corey?
So to the head of marketing, I would just like to apologize on behalf of Elevend and myself. This will never happen again. If it does, send me a DM and I'll get you a free protein bar on the house.
There you go. There you go. Great stuff. Now, we can't not talk about Schnakks without mentioning our very own resident Schnakk expert here on the podcast, Matt Childs from the Bristol Sport Supporter Services team, who, Corey, I know you're very well aware of because he has his very own private Schnakk drawer in his drawer in the office, which is taking away from your business. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's trying to do his little thing there, but there's only so much a little snack drawer can do against a vending machine, you know what I mean? So well, it's only a matter of time before I run him out of business.
There we go. Well, we actually told Schnakk Man Matt that you'd be coming on the podcast this week, and he was gutted he couldn't be here to speak to you in person, but he did leave us a little message, didn't he, Sam?
He certainly did.
Hit play on this one.
Hi Corey, this is Matt the Schnakk Man. Just heard you were on the podcast. Gutted I can't be there today to talk about all things Schnakks and basketball with you today. I just got one question for you. What do you prefer? Matt's Schnakk drawer? Mind you, I've got a nice Christmas Toblerone in here today, so I'm going to nom that in a minute. Or do you prefer your wonderful vending machine downstairs? Simple question, really. You know, Schnakk attack, Matt, and out. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Schnakk Man Matt, shout out to Schnakk Man Matt for sending us a question. The Schnakk attack. What have you got to say to that, Corey?
I think it's a no-brainer. Yeah. I'm just gonna do this.
There we go. Well, Schnakk Man Matt did send us a peace offering to give to you, and that is a couple of Schnakks, courtesy of the Schnakk drawer. Do you accept the gift from Schnakk Man Matt?
I accept the gift. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, Matt.
Amazing. Great stuff. Well, that's a great chat, Corey. We appreciate you coming on the pod. We've got one thing to do before we get to news, and that is our quickfire questions.
Dan, are you ready with the lights, my man?
Yes.
Let's make the lights ready.
He said yes, and he was ready. Okay, good.
Right, Corey. Well, we've made our Christmas quickfire quiz this week. It's all the questions are Christmas themed. You'll have 30 seconds to answer as many questions as you can.
What's the record?
Can you remember how many you got on last time?
I think I got the most, like 20 or something.
Oh, yeah. No. The record is 11.
11.
So last week, CJ got 10. So 11 is the score to beat. Sam, are you ready?
Ready.
Your 30 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now. What's the worst Christmas present you've ever received?
Pencil.
What's your favourite Christmas movie?
The Grinch.
Pigs in blankets or roast potatoes?
Pigs in blankets.
What's your favourite Christmas song?
Jingle Bells.
What's your favourite Christmas meat?
Chicken.
Name a reindeer that isn't Rudolph.
Scrumpy.
That's not a reindeer. Celebrations or heroes?
Heroes.
Who was the last person you kissed under the mistletoe?
Nobody.
Who would be the best Santa on the team?
Les.
Have you ever returned a Christmas gift you received
No.
for money?
No, you've never returned a Christmas gift.
No.
Producer Dan, were you counting those, or do I have to count those?
Sounded like 12 to me.
Well, it was 10.
Yeah.
It was 10, but Scrumpy isn't one of the reindeer, I've got to say.
He's the Somerset reindeer. You've got Blitzen, you got Scrumpy.
Exactly. You never heard of Scrumpy. He's
well,
just me.
This podcast has turned to an absolute Christmas mess.
He's
hasn't
the drunk. He's the drunk reindeer left behind.
there we go. Corey, you got a score of 10. Congratulations. Not quite the 11. But next time you come on, we'll have to try and beat it. Right, it's time for us to get to the news.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hey Flyers fans, we want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors WebGains, who help make this podcast possible. WebGains is an affiliate marketing network who bring businesses and affiliates together to grow and succeed.
The Bristol Flyers are all about teamwork, and that's exactly what WebGains are about too. They're like the assist that helps your business score big.
Are you an aspiring entrepreneur or have a business of your own that sells products online? If so, WebGains is here to help. They connect businesses with top affiliates, from cashback giants like Top Cashback to niche bloggers in your vertical, who can promote your products and services, reaching a wider audience and driving more revenue.
And here's the slam dunk, Flyers fans. WebGains provides you with detailed reports and analytics to track the performance of your affiliate marketing campaigns, making it easy to see results of your hard work and investments.
Whether you're a local business or an international brand, WebGains has the expertise and network to take your marketing efforts to the next level. They're passionate about helping businesses grow, just like we're passionate about our team's success, Sam.
So if you're ready to skyrocket your online presence and drive more sales, visit webgains.com and see how they can assist you in scoring big in the world of affiliate marketing.
That's webgains.com, webgains.com. Give your business the assist it needs with WebGains Affiliate Network.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, let's talk about what's been going on in the British Basketball League this past week, and we've probably got to start by talking about the game against Newcastle Eagles, Sam.
Oh my goodness me. I was just so happy watching this game. For me, well, should we get into it? What about the old ejection, Joel? Should we start there?
Oh, yeah, go on. The second time Larry Austin Jr. has been ejected against the Bristol Flyers. Of course, he got ejected at the Wise campus when playing for the Cheshire Phoenix, and now he's made it a double with an ejection away, well, for our away game in Newcastle.
Now, Corey, was it because of your chippiness that you started getting annoyed, or is that not where it started?
I was actually nothing to do with this one. So I was just sitting back watching the show, really.
It was a weird one because he was annoyed that the foul happened, but it got called as a foul. It wasn't like he was annoyed at the referees, but it got called as a foul, didn't it?
I think the problem stemmed before that foul was called. I think frustration was just mounting throughout the game for Newcastle because they couldn't deal with the physicality. Maybe there were some official calls that couldn't have gone either way, but you can't let that get to you in a basketball game.
Well, I reckon he landed on his coccyx and it then was a bit painful and a bit sort of I don't know, not embarrassing, but just a little bit sort of got him rolled up. And then that first technical, you kind of understand having to go at the referees a little bit, but he went on and on, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't stop. I think the officials actually let that go quite a long time before giving them the second tee as well. I think you could have ejected him or at least given him a tee straight off the bat. I feel like they let him talk a lot, which is actually one of the focuses that the referees are trying to do this year, is to actually speak to the players more before they issue a technical foul. But it got a bit out of hand, and there were 2 tees, and he was out of here. Let's talk a bit about Brad Green, because he had 27 points, he had 14 rebounds, and up there, one of the best Brad Green performances I've seen all season.
I mean, we know Brad gets rebounds, we know Brad gets points, but that was just disgusting, wasn't it? Corey, how did it feel like being on the court with Brad that game?
I felt like a proud point guard watching that. It was crazy. It was like you said, he was just everywhere. It's and we looked at the stats after the game, very efficient as well. And it's good because there's times where we feel like he's got more to give, and it's bro, get your buckets, that thing. But that game, he was ready to do his thing, and he showed up. So coach even said, Brad Brad's going to show up today. He
Yeah.
showed up that day, innit?
His index was what, 37?
Yeah.
But the one I like is the plus minus. I don't know if everyone always knows about what the stats mean on the score sheet, but the plus minus for me is a really important one because what it is when you are on the court, how many points as a team you either get or you lose. So if you've got a minus when you're on the court, the other team scores more than you do. But if you've got a plus, it means that your team scored more. And his is plus 19.
Yeah, it essentially
crazy.
means that it potentially means that your team scores 19 more points than the other team when that player's on the court. So, for example, if you check into the game and it's 10-10, and you check out of the game and it's 20-10, you are plus 10 on the plus minus. That's how it works. for the
CJ's got a plus minus of 24.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, everyone on the team. I mean, CJ had a plus minus 24, Raf 19, Graham Bell 10, Green 19, Trajan Jacob 19 as well. Last stat I want to read out here, points in the paint. Flyers 58 points in the paint, Newcastle Eagles 28.
Crazy.
So that's where the game was won and lost.
That is disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah. Couple of more bits of news going on here. A few player transactions, Sam. Leicester Riders have bought in Teddy Allen. Who, if the name rings a bell, it's because Teddy Allen was Jelani Watson-Gale's teammate at the Winnipeg Sea Bears over the summer, and if he lives up to the hype of what he was playing like, because I watched a lot of their games, Sam, over the summer, Winnipeg, because obviously I was just following Jelani. If he lives up to the hype, he will add a lot to this Leicester Riders team.
He is a bucket, Joel.
That's why they call him Teddy Buckets. He's had a couple of 40-point games. He's also hit 36 points. He led the league at 27 points per game in the Seaball. And he was named league MVP as well. So he's coming into Leicester Riders. Obviously, last week on the pod, we spoke about the 3 players departing. I imagine they've still got more players to bring in. But at the time of recording, Teddy Allen is a Leicester Rider, which should make for a great game when we face them on the 28th.
I'm not surprised, though. Like, their record is not Leicester's. It's not what Leicester want, is it, really?
Yeah, change was definitely needed there. Change was 100% needed. So Teddy Allen's come in. Looking forward to seeing him in a Riders uniform this season. Another bit of player news announced today, Wednesday. Taylor Johnson is no longer a Plymouth City Patriot.
I didn't catch that. This is the first I've heard of that. So
Really?
Yeah.
They announced it today. They announced it that he'd left the club via mutual consent, which if you listen to the podcast, you know exactly what by mutual consent means. It means
told to leave.
It means they asked him to leave, and he went.
No, Joel. Mutual consent. They all shook hands and had a little cuddle and went, we'll go in our separate ways. Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he signs for Leicester, you know. Because they're looking for American players, and if he's leaving Plymouth, then maybe he'll join Leicester. Who knows? I'm sparking rumours. So that's the latest player news, and that's it for our news. Any other news, Sam, around the league?
I think we need to crack on. So no, that's
Let's get
good.
to the mailbag.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, Corey, as always, we ask fans to send in their questions. Here's a question that came through from Instagram from Jahin Chowdhury. You know
Jahin Chowdhury. I know
Chowdhury?
exactly who that man is, yes.
What's the best question to ask everyone in the barbershop?
The best question to ask everyone in the barbershop. That's a good one. Shout out Enhanced Barbers, by the way. The best question is who's your favorite music artist?
Oh, yeah?
Keep it safe, I think.
Get the conversation flowing.
Yeah, definitely.
They also ask, what's your favorite lager?
Favorite lager? Ain't got one. Strictly Fantas only.
Fantas only.
Fantas only. You got the next question down, Sam?
Certainly do. Josh.C008 has asked, and this must be one of your friends, right?
Joe, not off the top of my head.
Okay, it must
a bit
be
of a
because if you don't know, he's gone. How do you manage to play with your height disadvantage?
Height disadvantage? Excuse me.
If he's not one of your friends, that is so funny.
That is savage.
That's a crazy presumption to assume I'm disadvantaged by my height, but what I lack in height, I make up for in heart. Let me put it that way.
There we go.
You're not even short.
Yeah, I'm a healthy 6'1".
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, you're not under 6 foot, so.
Exactly. Healthy 6'1".
Zoe Hickey on Instagram, which has been the best school in Bristol to visit? And then she adds, P.S. It has to be Coniston Primary with a smiley face.
Of course. I'm glad she said that, actually. I was just trying to think, Coniston what? And then primary, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the one. Yeah, it was to be fair, all the schools was they was pretty cool in it. Like a lot of them were quite different, but you know when the kids are excited, like that just makes it even better. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Great stuff. A couple more questions here. Go on, Sam.
I was going to say, we've got one from someone you may or may not know. His name is Big Bad Brad Green on Instagram. He wants to know, how important does diet matter in the life of an athlete?
That is a really good question. Because I don't know if you guys are aware, I did a 2-month no sugar, no fast food diet at the start of the season.
The man that eats all the sweets
And all the fast food.
Yeah, that is true. And you know what got me through it?
Go on.
It was cactos, because like even with like drinks and stuff, obviously I'm used to having sugary drinks, but cacto is like it's kind of got like a nice flavor to it. So you don't need to have like Vimto or Fanta or nothing, but it's got all the health benefits of like pretty much like next to no sugar, like magnesium and all of that stuff. So yeah, I can't lie. That's what made me get through it.
I love Cacto. I've only tried it once, but they've given, because they're one of our partners and we partner with them, they've given me a little readout and they talk about how it's the what are they talking about? It's a prickly pear bush or something. No, what is it? The cactus plant in the desert,
Yeah.
and they say it's the desert's best kept secret, and it makes me giggle every time I read it out. So,
Well, I don't think there's many secrets in the desert, is there?
oh, well, why don't you go there and find out, Joel?
I'll pass on that one. Last question. What's been your favourite moment on the court? I guess that can just be in general.
This season.
I guess like in general, your favourite ever moment on the court.
That's a big question. Favorite moment on the court. Well, let me just say, like for this season, I think the Sheffield comeback. Let's say that. Yeah, that was
sick.
That was because that kind of stopped the losing streak as well.
Yeah.
12 points down with 2 minutes to go, send it to overtime. So, yeah.
That was so tasty.
A big old Flyers dub.
One of my favourite moments of you was actually in a UE game last year where you got chucked up an alley-oop and absolutely nailed it, and they found you as well at the same time. That was so nice.
Those UE games, the highlights from that is pretty fun as well. I can't lie.
There have been some pretty good ones in there.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Corey, I think that's a great place for us to wrap up this week's episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.
Thanks for spending time with us. Is there any one last message you have for the Flyers fam?
The Flyers fam? Yeah, I do actually.
Go on.
I think we got one of the best and most supportive fan bases in the league. And especially like I've been supported by them personally. So I would appreciate if everyone, where they can, if they could support Elevend, I guess the easy way is to follow us at Elevend, ELEVEND.SW on Instagram. I think we got about 14K subscribers on Bristol Flyers. So, you know, if all of you guys watch this, and I'm sure you do, and follow, that would be appreciated. But also, just look for any way you can help local businesses, whether it's involved with mine and the businesses we work with, or just in your communities that you know of. Let's just get that done. Help the world go around.
Very well said indeed, Corey. Love a good plug here on the Bristol Flyers podcast.
Of course.
Speaking of plugs, shout out to WebGains for sponsoring the Bristol Flyers podcast. We need to do an episode with them at some point, Sam. We're going to do a little visit down to their HQ, I believe.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We'll do it in the new year, I imagine now.
Yeah, so obviously, just a quick reminder on the podcast schedule. This is the, we've got one more episode, which will be me and producer Dan. Dan will have a little production meeting after this to talk through our best of episode next week. You are going away next week, so enjoy your time off. And I probably won't see. I mean, obviously I'll see you tonight for the Christmas party, but after that I probably won't see you next week until after Christmas, right?
Oh, I'll probably see you Friday, won't I?
Oh yeah, probably true. I'll see you Friday, but then after that I won't see you. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the Bristol Flyers podcast this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Give us a rating and a review. And producer Dan and I will be back next week for our Christmas special, so don't miss it. Right here on the Bristol Flyers podcast.